Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. I have some fun little card ideas that I want to share with you. We're going to kind of switch things out from Christmas and do some all occasion cards. So today I'm going to feature a new bundle. It's actually an early release bundle that is going to be featured in the new January to June mini catalog from Stampin' Up! So I'm going to feature this new bundle. It's like I said, it's available now actually, so you can get it as an early release. So it has a really fun stamp set in here, and it has these really cool curvy dies, which is what we're going to use today. So I'm going to show you just a couple different card ideas featuring this set. Now, I did feature these dies with a Christmas set, the Curvy Christmas stamp set coordinates with this as well. So I did feature those. So if you wanted to check those out, you could go out to my blog and you can find the additional details on the Christmas cards. But today we're going to switch from Christmas to all occasions. So that's what I have to share with you. So good morning, everybody. Hello, Pam and Patricia, Kelly, Sandy. Thanks so much for joining me. So these are just three of the cards. I have three additional cards that I'll share with you, but I'm going to show you how to basically use these curvy dies to create this fun look on your card. And so the cool thing about the die, so let me move this out of the way. I'll bring those back in just a minute. So the cool thing about this die is that when you use it, when you cut with it, it cuts two pieces for you. So you can use both pieces to create some cards. So that's what I did for today. So the cards that I'm going to share with you are these two. I'm going to show you how to make these two. And they were created just simply by using the die to cut this in half. So let me show you the die quick. I grab these. So there's two different dies. There's one that has this scalloped kind of fancy edge, and then there's one that has this polka dot, I guess, edge. So you basically just lay the die across your cardstock or your pattern paper, depending on what you're going to be using. And then you just run this through your embossing machine and it cuts both pieces at the same time. So it gives you one edge that has this fancy design, and then it gives you another edge that has this flat design. So this flat design is what I used to create this card because I decorated it with these leaves. And then this design, of course, was used here to create this look. So a couple things that I recommend is that when you are using the dies or when you're wanting to use the dies, cut your pattern paper or cardstock, whatever you're using. Cut it so that it is the same length that you want to use on your card. So for example, this one is 5¼ inches long. It's 4 inches wide. And then I just cut that in half. So by doing that, I already have this prepped to, go on this card because my background piece is 5¼ by 4. Same thing with here. I'll have this already prepped. So you can cut your paper any size and this die will work any size. So if I want to shrink this down to 3 inches, instead of having it 4 inches wide, if I want to shrink it down to 3 inches, I can do the same thing and cut it in half and get two pieces. So I'll show you some other cards where I used smaller pieces and just kind of layered them together. But for now, we'll just get started with these. So let me separate these here. We'll start with this one, I think. Okay. So what you'll also notice about these cards is that I'm using some new pattern paper. So this is one of the patterns from a new Celebration item that's going to be coming out in January. So you know that with Celebration, that's like my favorite time of the year, and because you get free stuff. So you can choose this pack of paper as a free item for any $50 that you spend during Celebration. So that's what I chose. I chose this particular paper pack. So I'm going to show you some cards with that. So if you're wondering where this paper came from, that's where it came from. So no, you can't get it now. but January is right around the corner, so you'll be able to get it soon. Okay, so the first thing I did is I cut a piece of pattern paper at 5 1/4 by 4. And you can use any pattern paper. You don't have to have this paper. So this works with any paper. And then I adhered it to a piece of white cardstock simply because I'm going to be tying some twine around it. So I wanted to make it a little stronger so it's not so flimsy. And then I just took my curvy die here, the piece that I cut, and I'm just going to adhere that right over the top of this pattern paper. And so you'll notice it's a little bit different in shape and size, but that's okay because it all depends on how you lay it on your pattern paper when you cut it, how you know. So this die might look a little, this design might look a little different from this one. Okay, so now I'm just going to add some of this twine. So I'm just going to wrap this around and then tie a little bow. So that's why I adhered this to a piece of white cardstock because it'll just be easier. If you've ever tried to tie a bow on just designer paper, it's kind of flimsy and not very easy to do. So, all right. So yeah, you'll have to watch me tie a bow. Hopefully I can tie it okay on camera. Okay. So again, I always tie my bows upside down because they seem to lay better when I do that. And then I'll just trim off the excess. Okay, and then you can just scoot this over, you know, if you want. Scoot this over a little bit. And we'll trim off this extra. So you can already see, I'm sure, how easy this is to use to create some fun little designs for your cards. Probably the longest part of the presentation is going to be watching me create bows. That'll be it. All right, so we'll just go ahead and adhere this. I think what I like the most about this is just how unique these designs look, and there's just so many different ways that you can use this. You know, you can use it singly like I am, just single pieces like that. You can use multiple pieces and layer them together, so I'll show you that too. And then I just created a little greeting. So I used some of the layering ovals and the stitched ovals and created a little greeting. So I'll pop that up on the card. And then in the set, there's also these little bird images. So I just cut one of those out and I'm just going to tuck it behind that little greeting. So that's it. That's how easy that card is to make. So pretty cool, right? All right, so there is one. I don't know, did I decorate the inside? Yeah, I did put a little bit of pattern paper on the inside and left it blank so that I could write a message. All right, so that is the first card. Now we'll move on to this one. This one has a few more pieces, but it's the exact same concept as what I just shared. So the colors that I'm using actually here, the pattern paper is that bumblebee color. And then I colored in these leaves. This is one of the images from the stamp set. So I just stamped the image and then I colored it in using some Just Jade Stampin' Blends. So I used the dark and the light just to kind of shade it a little bit. And then there's a die in the set. Let me grab that. There's this die that cuts out the leaves so that you can use them on your card and you don't have to cut them out by hand. So that's a nice feature. All right, so the concept for this one is the same. So I'm just using actually the back side of this pattern paper here. And we'll just add this piece. I'm just adding it to a 5 1/4 by 4-inch piece of white cardstock. So we'll add that. And then, yeah, you get to watch me do a bow again. So if you missed it, well, here's your chance. Okay, so we'll just wrap this around again. So I like to wrap it around like 2, 3 times. 2 is good for now. Probably shouldn't have picked 2 cards that had a bow, right? All right, so we'll tie this up. Let me get my finger out of there. And again, I'll just tie it upside down. And then notice how I put my finger on this knot. If you do that, it tends to, you can pull these tighter. It tends to keep your bow straighter. I don't know, just a little thing I noticed as I was tying bows. So just keep your finger on that knot as you straighten out your bow. And then we'll cut some of this mess off here. So the twine is quite curvy as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to put it on a bumblebee cardstock base. So we'll add that, and then we'll go ahead and decorate it. So all of the pieces that I'm using to decorate my card, I created with this stamp set. So, well, except for maybe the greeting. I cut that shape out of my ovals, but the rest of the items came from the stamp set and the die set. Okay, so we'll give this a second to just dry here. All right, so there's that part of it. So I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of my leaves here. So I'm going to add those first. And then once I have the leaves adhered to the card, then we can just go ahead and tuck these little flowers and birds around the leaves. So let's see, this will go right under there. And notice how it covers up that, that straight edge. So if you don't like the straight edge look, if you like that fancy look, then just create some leaves and cover up that straight edge, that straight curvy edge. What do you call it? The flat curvy edge? All right, so now I'm gonna get these little flowers ready to go. So we'll put some dimensionals on here. So these little flowers I actually cut from the designer paper. So I just cut them out by hand. And they coordinate with the paper. Let me grab the paper quick. So this is the piece that I started cutting all the little flowers from. So there's so many flowers on this pattern paper and they work perfect for little embellishments. So you can just, cut these out by hand and use them to embellish your card. So that's what I'm doing here. I cut out these little flowers by hand. And then all I'm going to do is just kind of tuck them in and around the little leaves here. So the cool thing about this is a lot of these floral images, like this one, you'll notice is flat on the edge here. So this was on the edge of the paper. So you can use those little flowers that are on the edge of the paper because you're going to be tucking them underneath the leaves. So nobody's going to notice that it's missing part of its part of the flower. So that's kind of cool. All right, let's put this sentiment on here right away before I run out of room. So for this greeting or the sentiment that I'm using, I'm just going to put this down here. So I put a little bit of liquid glue on one side and a dimensional on the other so that they're the same height. All right, so we'll tuck this one under here and then we'll put another one down on the bottom. Okay, So that's our basic design. And then the little bird images I cut from the set. So we can just tuck those wherever, well, let's see, I think I can get them in there. And then the last one we'll just tuck down here. And that's it. And then you can go ahead and embellish it. Like this one, I added a couple little enamel dots, but it really is a very simple and pretty card. And then on the inside, I just added some designer paper, so to coordinate with the card. So fun. I really like this set. I just like the look, and the fun little images that are in the set reminds me of spring, even though we're heading into winter. So there, that's the first set of cards. Let me move that out of the way. And then I did another little card, same kind of design like I just shared with you, except I cut my paper longer. So I started with a 5.5 by 4.25 inch piece of pattern paper. And then I cut my design. So that way it ran all the way the full length of the card, where this one didn't run the full length of the card. And then I just added a piece of pattern paper on this side and laid my curvy design over the pattern paper. So it was really easy to put together. And then this is the other one I just showed you. So there's the first three. But then you can also use the curvy die to create some different pieces. So I created smaller pieces using like a 2 inch or a 3 inch wide piece and cut my curvy design. And then I chose another piece of pattern paper and coordinated the two to create this card. So by cutting it smaller, I left an open space in the center for me to stamp a little greeting on there. So this one's really, really fun, fun little design. And then I used some of those leftover pieces. So you'll notice that here, this one has the fancy curvy design, and this one has that um, the edge that doesn't, it's just a straight edge, a straight curvy edge, if that makes sense. So this is the piece that came from here. And I just layered the pieces together to create this fun look. So again, the smaller you create your pieces, probably the more layers that you can add here to your cards. And then there's also another curvy die in here. Let me show you. It's a little smaller. It's actually, I'm going to show you the image. So it's a smaller image. It's this small floral image compared to this big long leaf image. So I used this small floral image and I cut two of them to go across the top of the card here. So I only cut just one little curvy design. And then this is just a straight piece of pattern paper that runs across the top. And then I just added these little curvy florals in there, and of course, a couple little birds to create this card. So it really is a fun set, and you can get additional information on these cards out on my blog. So I did link to that in the description with the video here. Let's see if I can get these all on screen for you. So you can find more information out on my blog. Just click on that link and you can see all of these designs. You can get more information about the Quite Curvy bundle, which is the stamp set and the dies. You can find that information out there too. So I hope you guys enjoyed these card ideas. They, like I said, it's really easy to use this die set. There's a lot of different possibilities with it. So I only scratched the surface here by sharing 6 different ideas with you, but there's way more things you can do with it. So have fun with it. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will be back again next week to share more fun ideas with you. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.